Hey everybody! And a warm welcome to a new story. Today's story is called Circumstances of Visibly Injured Corpse Has Not Been Officially Determined. From the Unsolved Mysteries subreddit. I hope you like it and will enjoy the time. If you like my content and this kind of videos, please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. As always, this story is told from the OP's point of view. Enjoy it. Intro. In 2014, the nude, visibly injured corpse of 64-year-old Alan Gell washed up on a beach in Perranporth, England. Inside Alan's mouth was a rolled-up sock and a pair of headphones. The circumstances surrounding Alan's death are so unusual that the cause of death has not been officially determined. On February 25, 2014, the nude corpse of an elderly adult male washed up on Cornish Beach in Perranporth, England. The man wore 2 socks on his feet with only one shoe still on. In the man's mouth was a rolled-up sock and a pair of white iPod earbuds, which were dangling out the corner of his mouth. It appeared that the sock had been tied in place by the wire of the earbuds, as they were lightly looped around the sock from behind. The man had sustained significant cuts and bruises that covered his body, such as a flesh wound on his scalp, a cut on his right hand, and injuries to his chest, as well as several significant internal injuries. An off-duty police officer and his wife discovered the body and immediately contacted the authorities. It wasn't long before the man was identified as 64-year-old Alan Gell, who lived alone in Wadebridge. Near Alan's body was a regatta jacket. Inside the jacket pocket was Alan's wallet, containing a photograph of himself as a 2-year-old boy, and £95 in cash. A wet £10 note was found in the other pocket of the jacket. Also discovered on the beach was a wool hat and a backpack. The backpack, which is believed to belong to Alan as police have established that it was purchased in Wadebridge, was mostly empty apart from loose plasters, a pen, and interestingly, a bag containing dog feces. Alan did not own a dog. The night before his body was discovered, Alan was captured by CCTV cameras wearing a light blue raincoat and a backpack. However, the jacket found on the beach is not believed to be the same jacket Alan had been seen wearing the night before, leading police to believe that the jacket they found may have been inside the backpack. The jacket Alan was seen wearing has never been located, including most of the rest of his clothing. The only remaining article of clothing they recovered was Alan's opposite shoe, which was later found in a cave south of Perranporth Beach. Police were also unable to locate other of Alan's belongings such as Barclays Bank current account card, a Barclaycard credit card, a Nokia 1110i mobile phone and a third-generation iPod Shuffle. Police believe that it is possible Alan had been robbed, although investigators wonder why the hypothetical robber left behind the cash that Alan still had in his wallet and jacket. Initially, investigators suspected that Alan was murdered. However, the coroner, Dr. Amanda Jeffrey, was unable to establish the cause of death, and ruled it as unexplained. Dr. Jeffrey believes that the injuries Alan sustained are more likely to have been the result of a fall from a significant height, though she didn't discount the possibility that the Alan suffered the injuries elsewhere. The cut on the palm of Alan's hand, Dr. Jeffrey says, is more consistent with a cut that likely would have been caused by a sharp object in the sea. But she also did not rule out the possibility that Alan had suffered contact from a knife or a blade, although he didn't suffer any stab wounds. There were signs of drowning, such as Alan's heavily waterlogged lungs. Dr. Jeffrey later came up with one feasible scenario. She said, the most likely scenario is that the injuries were caused by a fall from height and drowning then occurred in the water. He died partially as a result of head and chest injuries as well as the drowning process. It is possible that this represents a very unusual suicide, although I cannot exclude the possibility that another person was involved in his death. It was later determined that Alan's blood alcohol level was twice the legal drink-drive limit. There was no trace of other substances in his system. Police say the theory that Alan met with foul play has not been ruled out, and due to the lack of evidence, investigators are hesitant to dismiss any theory. Officers centered their investigation on Alan's movements during February 24, the day before his body was discovered. Timeline Weybridge Monday, February 24, 12:10 p.m. Allen was captured by CCTV withdrawing £150 cash from an ATM on Molesworth Street in his hometown of Weybridge. 4:15 p.m. Allen was captured on camera again Bridge Tools on Gonvena Hill. This time Allen was wearing a light blue raincoat, which has never been recovered. Allen also was carrying backpack on his back. Allen is seen walking in the direction of the town center, having left his apartment further up the road, where he collected his jacket and backpack. Land's computer activity revealed that Allen searched bus routes during the few minutes that he was home. 4 minutes later, Allen then caught the number 594 bus from Weybridge to Truro. Truro 6:14 p.m. Allen arrives at Lemon Key bus station in Truro. 6:30 p.m. Allen is seen walking towards the public restroom. 6:36 p.m. Allen is spotted walking down Boscawen Street. 6:45 p.m. Allen is seen talking to a man at the bus station. 2 other men were waiting at the bus stop. Though police publicly urged these 3 men to come forward, not one of them did. Newquay 8:16 p.m. Allen arrives in Newquay. Cameras captured Allen getting off the bus and then walking around the town center. 9 p.m. Allen returns to the bus station. 9:15 p.m. Allen gets on a bus destined for Perranporth. Perranporth 10:25 to 10:27 p.m. Allen is seen for the last time on CCTV. Cameras capture him walking along Beach Road, near where his body would be discovered. February 25, 2 p.m. Allen's body is discovered by the couple. End of timeline. Allen's family described Allen as a quiet man who lived a solitary life. Allen was born in Cornwall and was a keen surfer while growing up in Polzeath. Allen spent a lot of time in Perranporth as a young man, and was said to have fond memories of the place. Though unemployed at the time of his death, Allen worked in the electrical trade in the past. Allen also was interested in science, and had been a team member of many scientific research projects. Allen moved to Weybridge in 2004, where he rarely interacted with others. While Allen mostly kept to himself, his brother said he had kept a small circle of friends, and was fairly actively involved within the community. Allen played squash in local leagues, and was also a member of the oyster catcher pool team. Allen had plenty of hobbies, including reading, programming, online gaming, sports cars, photography, beekeeping, mining and mineral collecting. Investigators were unable to find any individuals with whom Allen had meaningful contact with in the last few weeks of his life. The investigating officer in the case, Detective Inspector Steve Hambley, said his last known social interaction was around New Year 2014. That is the only person who Allen had any social interaction with in the last few months of his life. Though Allen wasn't in touch often, Allen was loved by his family, and they are desperate for answers. Allen's family don't believe that Allen committed suicide. They believe that the sock stuffed in his mouth indicates that it's more likely he met with foul play, especially if he may have been robbed earlier that night. Investigators don't know what to believe, but are taking advantage of every opportunity to seek answers. Perranporth is said to have a large LGBTQ community, and they explored the theory that Allen might have been a homosexual, or had homosexual tendencies. Though investigators clarified that there is no evidence that Allen was a homosexual, they don't want to leave any stone unturned. Police reached out to the gay community in Perranporth, but they never received a promising lead. In the last few weeks of his life, Allen made what investigators believe to be an unusual purchase. Allen purchased a 10 kilograms weighted training vest and 2 kilograms ankle weights from Amazon, each of which were never located. Though Allen had several hobbies and interests, exercising was not one of them. Police have not discounted the possibility that Allen used these items to drown himself. Another theory police investigated was that Allen accidentally killed himself as a result, indulging in an act of autoeroticism, which involved putting the sock in his mouth, though there's no way to verify whether or not this is the case. Dr. Jeffrey stated that the discovery of the sock was concerning. Dr. Jeffrey said, the sock was blocking the back of the throat with a set of headphones looped behind the sock. The sock was partly clenched between the teeth. The sock matched socks found in his home, which supports the possibility that they were his own. It causes a degree of concern. It might be entirely innocent, but we simply cannot say. It is clear the sock was purposefully stuffed in his mouth. It would be a rather unusual thing to do to oneself. I'm not aware of this being a recommended practice of taking your own life. It is possible the headphones were inadvertently dragged into the mouth at the same time the sock was inserted. So it would suggest the sock was inserted in a hurried manner. Inspector Steve Hambley says that he remains open-minded as to the cause of Alan's death. Hambley could not rule out suicide, an accidental death, or the involvement of others, including murder. Hambley said, "I have considered that Alan's death could have been as a result of a fall or accident, but I struggle to accept this as a realistic explanation. Also, a fall from rocks, cliff or coast paths could offer an explanation for the chest injuries and signs of drowning, but I struggle to find an explanation for the sock and earphones lodged in Alan's mouth during such a fall. Whilst I cannot discount that Alan's death was as a result of suicide, there are aspects which would tend to contradict this. The fact that personal items were missing does not entirely fit with a suicide." Matthew Pavitt, of Home Coast Guard, said in his experience it was not unusual for people wishing to end their own lives to use objects in their mouth to conceal distressing sounds. People do it to stop people from hearing what's gone on, not wanting people to hear screams or involuntary noises. Pavitt also added that it is common for adults, especially males, to go to a place of historical significance to them to end their lives. In Alan's case, he was known to have been fond of Perranporth. Alan's ashes were brought back to Polzeath by his family, as it's where he grew up and lived for most of his life. Friend Kathy Bassett said, "Polzeath is the place where Alan lived and grew up. From a young child and into adulthood he had been surrounded by friends and family here. As a young man Alan was very outgoing. Alan belonged to the surfing community in Polzeath and enjoyed being in or near the sea, whether surfing, diving or exploring the coastline." Alan's brother, Derek, spoke of Alan fondly. Derek still waits for resolution, and has said, "This is such an unusual death, so it needs explaining. We need to get to the bottom of what happened. We will be working with the police going forward." Investigators consider Alan's case to be unsolved, and they continue to follow leads and search for answers. What do you think about this story? Tell me your thought in the comments. If you like the story and the content, please leave a like, subscribe and share this video. Also have a look into my playlist for more entertaining stories.